Today on DoodleDrawArt, I'm going to show you how to make these Easter egg charms. You're going to need 4 different colors. I'm using yellow, purple, blue, and cyan. And you're going to need more of the color you put at the end unless you want completely different colors at both ends. I like Easter eggs to have the same color at both ends, so I'm going to use yellow for both of my ends. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by loading. Well, first of all, my loom is in the straight across position and my arrow is pointing away from me. And I'm going to load these colors in the order that I want them in my egg. So I'm going to load yellow. Well, I'm actually working this way. Yellow, and then cyan. And I'm using 2 bands at once. So I have 2 yellow, 2 cyan. Now I have 2 blue, 2 purple, and because I'm using yellow at both ends, I'll put 2 yellow at this end. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to where I started and use the same colors, going out the edges of my egg, starting with a diagonal from the middle out to the side. Same colors. Oops. And again, I'm still using 2 bands every time. And for this last one, I'm going to bring it into the center. So from here, 2 bands into the center. Now I'll go back to the start using 2 bands. I'll go all the way around this edge. And for the last one, I'll work into the diagonal center again. Okay, so now I'm going to place horizontal bands going in this direction and a capping band at the top. So down here I'm going to use the color of my second row. So I'm going to be using cyan, and I'm going to take a single band and I'm going to wrap it twice. So I'm just going to bring it all the way across these 3, give it a twist, and go back. Okay, so for my next row I'm going to use blue, and I'm going to use 2 bands. So this was a single band crossed over twice, and this is 2 bands. Now for purple, I'm going to use 2 bands. And now for the top yellow, I'm going to use a single band crossed twice. So all the way over, give it a twist, and bring it back across. That makes it nice and tight. Okay, so now I'm going to put a capping band on the end, but before I do, I might just push down my work here, just to make it easier in my next stages. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a single yellow elastic, and I'm going to loop it 3 times. So 1, 2, 3 times around my hook, and then I'm going to put it on this end to cap off my work. This will hold everything together. It's a little tricky sometimes to get them on there, but you can do it. Okay, so I have my capping band at one end, and now I'm going to turn my loom around so that we would begin working right here where this capping band is. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook my middle row forward. So what I have to do is put my hook down through all of these bands and find the elastics that are coming from this middle row, because those are the only ones that I want to work with. So that's these bands right down here. Sometimes it's helpful just to find them, pull them out a bit so that you can see that they're at the very bottom. There are a lot of bands on this peg. There's 3 capping and then 2 from each of these directions. So now I'm just going to turn my loom and reach underneath all of those bands until I find just the 2. If I push these ones away a little bit, that helps. Just push them out with my hook and grab both bottom 2 and bring them off and hook them forward. It's important to get both of them, so just double check before you go any further that you've got both and that they make a teardrop shape. Now these ones get a little easier because there's less bands on there, but again you're going to go down through, you're going to go through your horizontal band underneath it and just grab those two purple that are underneath and hook them forward. Same thing in this row, bringing the blue hooked forward, cyan hooked forward, and last of all, oops, sometimes this happens, you have to check and see how much you lost it, and you just pull it and grab it back up. Most important thing is that it still makes a teardrop shape in here. Okay, now I've got my last row, yellow, and hook it over. Order is very important when you're doing rainbow loom projects, otherwise when you undo it, it will come apart. Alright, so now I'm going to go back to the beginning here and I'm going to work in another direction. So I'm just going to look at these two elastics that are left on here. I'm going to work on the bottom ones. So that's these yellow over here. I'm going to reach in until I find the two bottom yellow. I'm going to unloop them and bring them over. And I'm making sure now that in fact I have the right elastics and that it made a teardrop shape. Now I'm going to continue working up this row. I get to the top, hook into the center. Okay, and now I'm at the end, so I'm going to go underneath my capping bands again, grab these two elastics here, and hook them to the side. Oop. So that is not a disaster. I just have to make sure that I'm still inside my capping bands when I pick it up, and I am. Okay, pull them over. This happens to everyone sometimes, especially when you're trying to work with a camera. Alright, so now I'm just going to work my way, hooking forward on the right side. And when you get to the end, you're going to hook it to the middle. Alright, so it should look like this when you're done. Check that you've got teardrop shapes in all directions and that you have no bands left that were unhooked. And now we're ready to cap off our end. So you can choose to use the same color or a different color. Here I used a different color. I used orange because I wanted you to be able to see it, and I'm going to use it as a charm. In this one I'm going to use the same color because I'm actually going to work this one back into my project. But what you're going to do is you're going to put your hook all the way through all of these elastics and pull this one through, and then you're going to put both of the loops on your hook and then take this one off, pull it tight. Okay, so that caps off this end. Now we can remove our work from the loom. I'm going to use my hook for this because I don't want to stretch it. I'm just going to release all of these gently. If you pull it off with your hands, you probably will stretch them out more than you want. You could end up with a bumpy looking project. So I'm just going to try and gently ease these off. Okay, so once you get it off completely, just have to stretch it a little bit, get all of your elastics relaxed into their proper position. So now you can see I have two Easter eggs, and in this one I've left my extension out, and in this one I'm actually going to hide it inside my Easter egg. So that's kind of funny, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my hook, put your hook through all of these yellow elastics down at the very bottom until you get it to stick out the other side, and then loop your yellow that's sticking out onto your hook and just pull it in so that you can tuck it inside and hide it, and pull it a bit tight, and then just stretch things out so that it's tucked right into the middle of your work. Okay, so there you have it. Easter egg charms. I hope you enjoyed watching me make these Easter eggs today, and I would love it if you would comment, rate, and subscribe. And I also have other tutorials if you want to find out how to make a rainbow ladder, or some heart charms, or many other things. You can check my playlists. Thanks for watching.